Hi, just going to give you a brief overview of what the various projects are about. So these are rapid conversion evidence summaries. So we're going to discuss in the sense of what they are, what current projects we've completed, and how we would support you undertaking a race project using Microsoft Teams. Race projects have kind of three main aims. The first one is to develop clinical members of staff skills. So what we're trying to do is upskill their knowledge around how to interpret and apply systematic review evidence. The other element we want to do is internally share the evidence. So hopefully with the new evidence you'll implement the particular change or recommendations based on the evidence gathered from the systematic review. The final thing is we're trying to, obviously, as well as internally publicise the research, we'll also try to externally publish the research. So this is try to gain a publication via a commentary, which we'll have a look at shortly and some examples of where we've done this. And I'm going to give you an atypical scenario, just kind of contextualized how a race project works. So I'm going to give you a recent scenario which was about one of our members were interested in carrying out a survey and they weren't sure which survey tool would be appropriate to use. So they said, is there any systematic reviews looking at this particular area of surveying and which survey tool would they recommend? So we identified a relevant systematic review. We then worked with their team, a couple of members in their team, to write a 2-page summary of the evidence. So we wrote up kind of evaluation of the quality of the review itself. So that helps to kind of inform us of how much trust should we put in the evidence, not just the evidence included in the review, but in the sense of the methodology of how they've undertook the review itself. And then we also help them to understand how that evidence would apply to practice. In this case, there was a clear recommendation of which survey tool to use. We then made that recommendation to our member, and then they've now rolled out that particular survey tool. But that's the idea, is that you already have a clinical question or a scenario where you're going to make a change, so there's already the infrastructure and support there to make that change. What you're not sure about is what's the best options out there to make that particular change. What we will do is find a relevant, or support you in finding a relevant systematic review. We then carry out a process which helps you to evaluate the quality of the review and write up kind of a 2-page summary document of how good that review is and how it may answer your particular clinical question, and with the aims that we'll try to get that published. So one of the aim outputs for our kind of 2-page write-up of the quality and the implementation of the review is to try to get that output published. Some examples, these are kind of the atypical outputs. So we've done a wide range of clinical scenarios and questions around all different areas. They usually end up being about 2 pages. Some can be a lot longer. So we recently completed I think it was about a 4-page race project because we looked at 3 different reviews at the same time. Because the evidence base was quite thin on a single review, we then decided to look a bit broader and combined 3 reviews together to answer our clinical scenario. So it is in the sense of scalable. In typical terms, it's about 1,000 words, and it normally takes about 3 to 2 days of staff members' times to kind of write this up. But that is usually taken over a 1 month period of time. So we usually try to scale a project over about a month, and obviously it will then allow them to kind of work it around their current commitments within work, and obviously allow us to support it during that period of time. As we said, we've been very successful in publications. We've had 10 races currently published. There is another 3 which are in publication at the moment, so they've obviously been accepted, but they're just being edited and going through the end of publication at the moment. So we're quite good at finding a relevant area for these to be published, and we do produce them at a very high quality, which allows them to be published. So these are just some of the examples of ones that have been published so far. So what I'm going to do is just going to flick to Microsoft Teams just to show you the kind of how we support this. The first thing we will do is send you an email. So this is an email I've sent to myself just as an example, but the email has a link to the people who have been indicated to be interested in the project. We then send you a video which will allow you to kind of see the overall project in the sense of what the team's area is about and how it will support you. So it's kind of a very step-by-step guide of how to undertake a race project. So as soon as you've emailed us and indicated you're interested in a race project, you get an email which kind of automates you through the next stages, and it's a very easy and clearly driven process, because we've done so many of these. We kind of know what the atypical pitfalls are and how best to support you. So what I'm going to do is show you how we support you. So when you receive this email, you'll see there's a link to Teams. You will be automatically assigned to that particular Teams area. So if you click on the link, it will then send you to the relevant Teams area. If you don't have Teams installed, it does allow you to view Teams via a web browser, or you can install the software and get the kind of more seamless functionality of Teams if you want to install the full package. But it does allow scalable access, so if you don't have the option to install software on the computer you are on, you can just click on the web link and view all the software and materials via the web link. It's either or. So the Teams area gives you support in regards to undertaking the RACE project by using OneNote. So what we've designed is a step-by-step guide of how to undertake a RACE project. So it kind of gives you an overview of what a RACE project is, and then it takes you through each of the stages you would need to do to get it to the point where we would publish it. It obviously helps you kind of explain what they are. It's got videos, it's got to-do lists, it's got ways we can monitor your completion rate. So when you're completing the RACE project, you can tick areas when you've completed, and that gives us in a sense, our team at the university, an indication that where you are up to each project, so we can see if you need support. It also has collaboration tools. So obviously if you've used Teams before, there is a wide range of collaboration tools where you can message each other. So you can set up conversations via this by just typing in and sending messages through the team. So if there's multiple people working on the write-up of the 2-page summary, you have the capacity to kind of communicate to each other via Teams. You've also got the normal meeting functionality. So if you want to meet up virtually, you can create virtual meetings by using the various functionality. In the video which you will receive in your email, it does explain each of these functionalities and allows you to kind of rewatch the video again and again if you want to kind of remind yourself of how to use the functionalities. We do give you a template of the atypical layout of a Teams RACE write-up. So what we do is we give you kind of, this is the standard version. We probably will add some examples in here, so when you do get your library, you'll have maybe 10 examples of other RACE projects which have been published in this area, just to give you some idea of what the output would look at in the end. The last thing I just want to mention is how to kind of contact us. So you'll see here, this is our email address. In this email, hopefully if you receive this video via email, there'll be my email address in here. But if you are interested in undertaking a RACE project, please get in contact with us. Kind of an easier way to start the ball rolling is just a bit of a synopsis of what you're trying to do and what type of evidence would kind of support your clinical question. So usually just a brief description of what your project's about and what you're trying to achieve in regards to answering a certain question, because this allows us to name your RACE project and also helps to have some idea of what direction you'll be going in regards to finding the research. So at any point you want to undertake a RACE project, please just send me an email. It does help if you indicate all the members or all the people who would be interested in the project, because what I can do is assign them to the Teams project straight away. There is a way, which I explain in the video, of you to add members at a later point, but it helps if we can get all the members on the Teams space all at once. So hopefully this video helps you to kind of gain an insight into RACE projects, and like I say, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send us an email.